Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. In this one, we're going to be looking at motion offences. So if you're new to the game, you might be asking, well, what is a motion offence? Essentially, it's the rotation of triangles, the rotation of players as the ball is released from one position to the other. So let's pause it here. So when I say triangles, I mean the middies, 1, 2, 3. No matter what formation you're in, there's always going to be a triangle between them. So here we've got an open set, and the attackers, 1, 2, 3, they're always going to form a triangle. So if we watch this slowly, when the ball is released from the midfield to the attackers and vice versa, there's loads of content on this, by the way, but I'm just including it for completeness. So the ball is released and the ball is traveling around anti-clockwise. So the midfield triangle is going to rotate anti-clockwise. So if we go back, and in an open set, obviously you're not going to rotate sort of behind the restrainer. So what M3 is going to do is cut to space at the crease, create that look and that opportunity. And generally with these rotations, you're always going to have two looks. You're going to have someone that's coming towards crease, and then you're going to have someone that's coming sort of down the field. So that was the crease look M3, and then M1 is going to be traveling down the field, and that wasn't a look that time, but that will happen. So we're going to see the same thing here. So A1 is going to pass, so attacking to midi, we're still going anti-clockwise, and that means the attack is going to rotate anti-clockwise. So we'll go into formations later, but this can be done in any situation. So here M1 snuck in to set a pick, but there was another rotation there. So why is this good at sort of lower levels of play? Well, for a very good defense, you're going to have to employ dodges, off-ball picks, and off-ball movement, potentially with good shooting ability to score a goal. If you're new to the game, perhaps you don't feel that confident to, let's say this M3 player just to dodge and beat the M2 player. Okay, fair enough. Setting picks as well, that's something that's an art in itself, difficult to learn, and you might see a lot of picks being set where the defense just runs past and completely ignores them. But something that's difficult to ignore and something that's very easy to implement is off-ball movement. Now, you'll be forgiven for not being able to dodge or pick when you just start, but to be able to run into space, this should translate from most team sports, and you probably won't be as forgiven if you see a big open space and you don't run into it. That's quite an easy concept to master here. So maybe that was M1 doing that there, is they saw this pocket, or A3 set a pick for them to create the space, but pocket of space, high pressure area just outside the goal, but that could be a shot there. So the formations. So if we just go back and watch it quickly, so very quickly. So we've seen it employed there, rotation. This is in an open set, and then we're going to watch the middies pass to attackers and do their rotation. In this instance, we can have M1 that will set a pick just to mix things up, but still a rotation. Here we've got a 1-4-1. Let's play that a bit more slowly. So attacker to midi, attacker is going to do their rotating. So there's the first look, and there's the second look. So someone cutting to crease, someone up and down the field. And then we're going to have M1 passing to A1, and we'll still see these two looks. So first you can have M1 going to crease. They had a pick from A3. And then we might see the second look, M3, there we go, getting taken up. Now and that was just a M1 slid to them, so they gave it to A3. So far we've seen open, and we've seen a 1-4-1. Now this is the bread and butter of a lot of teams, is the 2-3-1. So let's just slow that down. So we saw midi pass to attacker in the anti-clockwise direction, and then we're going to see the midfielders rotate in an anti-clockwise manner. This is the part that it becomes sort of lacrosse IQ, but it's good to be aware of this. So look at M3, they see M1 has gone down, so they pop up. There we go. But we look at M5 there as well. So M3 has shifted across, but M5 sees this huge vacuum of space. They know they're set up in a 2-3-1 rather than a 1-4-1. So they say, okay, I'm going to get out there. So we're going to see, so what we've seen there as well. So that was the first pass. They've given it to A2, but now there's actually been this second rotation, which is quite sneaky. So some teams will call this the truck and trailer. So that was the first rotation and that was a shot. But if that's not on, M3 can come around for a second shot, which a lot of teams won't expect. So we're still seeing this rotation. There's a look there. There's a look there. It's going back, and what we've seen here is the ball going clockwise. So A3, for whatever reason, didn't want to pass it to A1. Generally, you want to keep it spinning in the same direction, but they've said, okay, we're going to give it to M1. So because it's gone clockwise, the attackers are going to rotate clockwise. So that's going to result in, and not in this. Oh, yeah, here we go. So here we've seen a bit of a dodge, but M1 has quote unquote beaten LSM4. And what we're going to see is, so the M1 came to pick them up, fair enough, but they've released to M5. And we can already see from this rotation that the defense aren't really sure who the backslide now is, because A2 is dropping off. So it should have been D3, but A3's about to come into that space where M2 would have been the backslide. So if we look at it previously, and we'll talk about slides in more depth on another video. So here it's quite obvious that M1 will go, and D3 will cover M5. However, if A2 starts rotating, and we've gone too quickly, let's pause that. So if A2 starts rotating, they take away this backslide and it comes in from M2. So there was an opportunity there. So let's talk about it defensively now. How to best defend against this, and the truth is it's a bit difficult. Let's go back to the start. Maybe we'll go medium. So it's quite difficult, but the main thing, and that was a good example there, is to shout cutter. So D3 here would shout cutter because they're cutting, and this applies for an open set and sort of what formation. But it's always good, you can't over communicate as defense. So they've shouted cutter, they've ran through, and that's been okay. If we go a bit faster and find a 1-4-1. So the other thing that you can shout as well is when you're out. So if we watch this more slowly. So what we'll have at some point is, so there we go. So we've got LSM4 marking A3 on crease, and A3's, because we've got that anti-clockwise pass, A3 is going to exit the crease. So LSM4 is going to shout, I'm out, not on the crease anymore, to let everyone know that it's just D1 left on the crease, really. So, but then D3 is going to shout cutter, and that they're on the crease, and hopefully they'll pick up A2. It's essentially good communication is the defense's best idea to this. So, or best response to this, should I say? So you're going to want to cover your man. That's most important. But if you're part of the defensive unit and you have a secondary role to that, i.e. being a slide, which we'll touch on later, is communicating that you're no longer there, and someone else hearing that should realize that it's them, or you need to change your slide package, and maybe it won't come from the same direction that it did before the play. Hopefully this video has given you a better understanding of motion offences, what they are, and why they're used and how they're great at lower levels of play to create, dare I say, more advanced scoring opportunities than that would otherwise be available to a team. Catch us on our next video, and we'll be talking about those slide packages for the defense. Cheers.